Libra, my dear, what if I told you that the universe has already released your blessing, and that money is now falling from the sky into your home? Not metaphorically. Not someday. But now, between September 3rd and 5th. You didn't click on this video by accident. Your soul brought you here. And what we're about to explore isn't just a horoscope reading. It's a divine confirmation that you're standing on the edge of a miraculous shift. Because right now, your name is vibrating in a sacred ledger, and heaven is opening the floodgates to release what you've already earned energetically: wealth, peace, recognition, and spiritual freedom. The payout has been written. The only question is, are you ready to receive it? This is Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and today's message is a sacred alignment between your astrological destiny, divine timing, and the powerful gates of abundance that are unlocking specifically for Libra. From September 3rd to 5th, Venus, your ruling planet, is forming a rare trine with Jupiter and Uranus. That alignment alone opens a divine financial portal. For Libra, that means inheritance from past good deeds, karmic rewards, sudden breakthroughs in income, or unexpected blessings in the form of a home, land, or support you didn't see coming. But here's the deeper truth. You've been planting spiritual seeds for years in silence, in sacrifice, in prayers no one heard but God. And now, the harvest is here. So pause for just a moment. Breathe. And ask yourself, could this be the reason you've been feeling the urge to shift something big in your life? Could this be why doors that once felt bolted shut are now creaking open? In today's reading, we're going to map out the exact energetic patterns playing out around you. We'll dive into the symbolism, the planetary transits, and what this all means for your money, your stability, and your soul purpose. But more importantly, we're going to confirm that what you've been sensing lately, that quiet whisper telling you to prepare, isn't just your imagination. It's your calling. So Libra, if anything in your heart feels aligned already, I invite you right now to comment the sacred number 777 below. This isn't just a number. It's a signal to the universe and to yourself that you're awake, present, and willing to receive. It's how we anchor this transmission into reality together. And while we're here, allow me to offer my deepest gratitude for your presence. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe or share this message, you bring this soul-led channel to life. Your energy is the reason we're able to deliver messages that aren't just predictive, but transformative. So don't go anywhere. Stay with me until the end. Because what the universe is about to reveal to you about your role, your wealth, your influence is nothing short of spectacular. Now, my loyal Libras, what energy did you carry that pulled this message to your doorstep today? Let's find out together. Something extraordinary is being whispered through the cosmic frequencies right now, and Libra, you are at the very center of it. Not metaphorically, quite literally. When Venus, your ruling planet, enters a rare and harmonious trine with both Jupiter and Uranus between September 3rd and 5th, the celestial energies don't just align, they unlock. It's as if a sacred vault has been opened, and your name is at the top of the ledger. The universe, in its mysterious intelligence, is authorizing a release of what has been spiritually stored for you: wealth, grace, expansion, and yes, breakthrough. These planetary configurations are not common. They are catalytic. Venus softens and blesses, Jupiter multiplies and elevates, and Uranus surprises and liberates. Together, they don't knock gently, they swing open diamond gates. What does this mean for you? It means you are stepping into what I would call a golden hour of your soul's personal economy. Think of this moment as a long-awaited yes, a divine confirmation stamp on all the unseen efforts you've sown, the patience, the forgiveness, the choices to grow instead of retreat, the times you stayed silent when you could have shouted. All of that was seen. And in the divine order of time, nothing goes unrewarded. You are not being gifted this moment, you have earned it, layer by layer, in the quiet spaces no one else noticed. When the soul has proven faithful in the small, not just in action but in heart posture, the spiritual laws respond. Much like the principle that says, to the one who has been faithful with little, more shall be entrusted, this is a moment of multiplied stewardship. It's not just money flowing into your life. It's a new capacity to carry what is meaningful, purposeful, and lasting. This financial energy is not simply for comfort or luxury, though that may come. It's here to realign you with the higher assignment of your life, to put tools in your hands that match the vision you carry. And if you've ever wondered why the breakthrough took so long, this is why. Timing. Preparation. Not just outside of you but within you. Imagine receiving rain in a field that had not yet been plowed. It would flood, not nourish. So yes, the universe has waited for you to be ready, not perfect, but grounded. Not certain, but available. And now, the terrain of your inner world is ripe. The seeds are in. The soil is turned. The rain is coming. This kind of alignment between astrology and practical energy is what makes moments like these so potent. You're not simply receiving because planets are pretty. You're aligned because you've aligned. And from that place, you begin to move through the world differently. You make financial decisions differently. You say yes and no from a clearer, deeper center. You stop chasing and start receiving. Not passively, but powerfully. With clarity. With trust. And Libra, this is not about perfection or proof. It's about permission. You don't need to prove that you deserve good things, you need only permit yourself to open to them. The energy of these days is not transactional, it's transformational. So receive it without guilt. Without tension. Without overthinking. This isn't a lottery win. It's a life recalibration. A moment where your vibration matches the magnitude of the doors swinging open. If you felt something shifting lately, a sense that life is moving beneath the surface, you're not imagining it. You're being positioned. And now that the gates are open, your only task is to walk through them in trust, in grace, and in the quiet knowing that you were always meant to arrive here. This is your time. And it's only the beginning. There's a subtle but undeniable shift happening in your field right now, Libra, and if you're sensitive enough to feel it, you've probably noticed that the energy around money, worth, and abundance no longer feels the same. That's not your imagination. It's frequency. You're not just walking toward prosperity anymore. Prosperity is rushing toward you, like a tidal wave from multiple dimensions, not because you're chasing it harder, but because you've become a vibrational match to it. What used to require effort, force, and striving now seems to find you with surprising ease. This is the magic of resonance, the point at which your internal frequency speaks louder than your actions. And Libra, you're beginning to speak a new energetic language. One that no longer says, I hope, but I allow. No longer, I'm trying, but I receive. That subtle internal pivot is the difference between rowing a boat against the current and becoming the current itself. Think about it. For most of your life, you've been taught that to be successful, you must do more, work harder, push further. But energy doesn't operate like that. The law of attraction responds not to how much effort you exert, but to how clearly you vibrate with your desires. And lately, your energy has been clarifying, sharpening, purifying itself from doubts, scarcity, guilt, and fear. As a result, you're becoming magnetized not only to wealth in the form of money, but to opportunities, connections, solutions, and surprises that meet you where you are. This kind of shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens through subtle recalibrations, choosing peace instead of panic, choosing generosity over control, choosing expansion instead of protection. These are not always loud or visible, but they are powerful. And the universe notices. Just like rain knows when the earth is ready to receive it, abundance flows to those whose hearts are open and unarmored. Sometimes, we mistake this season of ease for coincidence. But it's not. It's alignment. It's the direct result of you doing the hard emotional and energetic work, the forgiving, the surrendering, the letting go. And now, as your frequency lifts, the world around you is shifting to meet it. If you want to deepen this process, here's a practice I recommend. Write down 3 things you know, deep in your heart, you are ready to receive. Not just what you want, but what you truly feel aligned with, what feels like your next level of truth. It might be financial abundance. It might be a new home. It might be peace that doesn't waver. Once you write them, place those intentions somewhere sacred, a small altar, a quiet shelf, or even in a bottle of water you infuse with that energy. Let them sit there for the next 3 days as you simply breathe and allow. This small act isn't about superstition, it's about focus. It's a reminder that you're no longer chasing your desires. You're becoming the vessel through which they arrive. And while we're speaking of becoming, don't be surprised if new clarity starts emerging over the next few days, perhaps around your purpose, your values, or your sense of self. Energetic upgrades tend to awaken not just financial shifts but identity shifts as well. Who you are no longer fits who you're becoming, and that's a good thing. Let the old roles shed. Let the new ones rise. In moments like this, I always return to a simple piece of wisdom. Growth is not always loud, but it is always sacred. Even if no one sees it, even if no one applauds it, your energy is speaking clearly now. And everything that is meant for you is already responding. Stay open. Stay available. Stay in the flow. You're not here to chase what's yours, you're here to receive it with grace. There are moments in life that don't come with warning signs, no flashing lights, no loud announcements. Instead, they arrive like quiet miracles, disguised as everyday encounters. A stranger offers unexpected help. A contract, once lost in silence, suddenly reappears with your name on it. An opportunity you never asked for falls gently into your lap like a feather from a sky you didn't even look up to see. These are not random. They are not luck. They are expressions of a divine economy moving in your favor, signs that the universe has remembered your name and is now returning to you what you may have forgotten you planted. For Libra, this energy is even more specific. Your sign carries the archetype of the scale's karmic balance, relational fairness, the unseen ways energy is exchanged between people, between moments, between worlds. When you give, and give quietly, when you choose peace instead of revenge, when you uplift others without recognition, when you hold space for harmony even when it costs you, that energy doesn't disappear. It collects. It builds interest. And eventually, it returns. But not always through the same channels. Sometimes, it comes in unexpected forms, a gift you never anticipated, a job offer you didn't apply for, a message from someone who says, "I don't know why, but I feel called to help you." When these moments begin to show up, it's important to remember they are not interruptions to your path, they are the path. Receiving them with openness and humility is just as sacred as the work you did to generate them. You are not stealing blessings from anyone else. You are receiving the overflow of a life lived with quiet integrity. And in times like these, it's not about working harder. It's about letting yourself believe that the work you already did was enough. Energetically, this is what the Empress card reminds us of in tarot. She is the embodiment of divine femininity, not just as a woman, but as a frequency. She does not chase. She magnetizes. She does not beg. She allows. The fruits of her harvest are not sudden, they are the result of seasons of unseen tending. She holds abundance not because she demanded it, but because she aligned with it. Her presence is a reminder that what you nurture within yourself, your relationships, your mindset will bloom. Not always in the way you expected, but always in the way you needed. And when the wheel of fortune turns as it is now for you, it often feels like the momentum you've been praying for is finally here. But don't confuse its arrival with instability. Yes, things are moving fast. Yes, you may be caught off guard. But the wheel doesn't spin randomly. It responds to patterns, to timelines of cause and effect that stretch far beyond what the eye can see. And Libra, you've been building momentum under the surface for far longer than you know. Now is a good time to reflect. Have you ever received something when you least expected it? A gift, a gesture, a door that opened at just the right moment? If so, I invite you to share it in the comments below. Not just as a memory, but as a declaration to the universe. I remember the way you moved before, and I'm ready for you to move again. This isn't about proving you're worthy. You've already done that. It's about allowing the goodness to find you again and being bold enough to say yes when it arrives. The doors are open. The current is moving. And everything you once gave to others in silence is now finding its way back to you, tenfold. What's unfolding now is not just a moment of receiving, it's a moment of activation. Libra, your energy is tuning into what some call the billionaire frequency, but don't let the term mislead you. This frequency is not simply about accumulating material wealth. It's about stepping into an energetic pattern where your value is magnified, where the universe begins responding to your alignment with abundance across multiple dimensions. Money, yes, but also influence, voice, contribution, and peace. You may begin to notice that financial channels are no longer single streams, but multiple rivers flowing in your direction. One opportunity may come through your talents. Another through a long-forgotten connection. A third may emerge through your capacity to serve others in a way that feels natural, almost effortless. This is what happens when you stop resisting the expansion that has always been coded into your chart. Venus, your ruler, reminds us that when you live in harmony with your deeper values, prosperity stops being a chase. It becomes a mirror. Wealth on this level isn't about how much you can hold, it's about how well you can channel. True abundance flows when you treat it as a resource, not just a reward. That's why one of the simplest practices I recommend right now is to open a small savings account, but not for bills or emergencies. Open one for your soul mission, and each week, deposit a sacred number, 7.77, 8.88, 11.11. Not for superstition, but for intention. That account is not just financial, it's symbolic. It tells your subconscious that your mission matters enough to be resourced, even before it brings external returns. Abundance also requires energy, and your health is the container that carries your purpose. Now is the time to protect it. Stress is one of the most subtle thieves of clarity and magnetism. Prioritize calming rituals, a chamomile tea before bed, magnesium baths, or simple grounding exercises that bring you back to your breath. Consider adding nourishing support like zinc and B12, not as a fix, but as fuel. When your body is supported, your energy stabilizes, and your financial intuition sharpens. And in your relationships, especially in love, wealth begins where authenticity lives. Speak the loving words you've been holding back. Give the compliment you keep to yourself. Take the small step to repair the misalignment that's been lingering. Money grows in a field of trust. So does intimacy. The more you create safety in your connections, the more your nervous system opens, and when your nervous system is relaxed, your ability to receive is amplified. This is why prosperity can't be compartmentalized. Every area of your life is either feeding or draining your capacity to expand. That's why I ask you this: if you were to receive $5 billion today, what would you do first, not for yourself, but to make a lasting impact? Don't rush the answer. Sit with it. Journal it. Let it surprise you. The vision that arises isn't just fantasy, it's direction. It's a reflection of the impact your soul is already prepared to deliver. So as these multidimensional income streams begin to appear, remember, the universe isn't testing you. It's trusting you. Trusting that you will channel what you receive into something greater. Trusting that you will care for the gifts, the people, and the purpose that show up along with the money. You don't need to prove anything to receive it. You simply need to be present enough and clear enough to know what to do with it when it arrives. And Libra, I believe you are ready. Not every seed makes sense to those who pass by the field. Libra, you know this more than most. You've been planting intentions, ideas, prayers, and visions that may have seemed invisible or even impractical to the world around you. And perhaps, at times, you questioned yourself because of it. You wondered, am I dreaming too big? Am I asking for too much? But now, as your energy begins to bloom, your spirit knows you weren't asking for too much, you were just asking before it made sense to others. There's a sacred confidence that comes with knowing your soul's direction, one that doesn't need applause or permission. The need for approval fades as alignment deepens. You're not here to be everyone's favorite. You're here to be faithful to your own resonance. And when your confidence begins to rise from that quiet place, not arrogance, not performance, but deep inner truth, something shifts. You no longer shrink to fit rooms that once felt safe. You walk into new spaces not wondering if you belong, but carrying the certainty that you were called. Just like the farmer planting seeds before the rain, people often misunderstand what they cannot see. It's easy to label a dreamer as naive. It's easy to mock a visionary when the vision hasn't yet arrived. But seasons always change. And those who sow with courage are also the ones who harvest with gratitude. The truth is, many of the most powerful changes in your life will happen quietly, and by the time others notice, the roots will already be deep and unshakable. Confidence isn't something you manufacture. It's something you remember. You remember who you are. You remember the moments when life tried to break you and didn't. You remember the times you kept going when no one was watching. And from that memory, a new kind of trust emerges. Not trust in outcomes, but trust in your own resilience. And from that place, you begin to attract different outcomes anyway. One gentle way to anchor this energy is by journaling, not from a place of needing to fix anything, but from a place of affirmation. Try writing something as simple as, "I no longer need validation. I was chosen long before the world saw me." Let that sentence live in your space. Let it echo quietly inside when you're about to lower your light to fit in. Let it guide you when old doubts resurface. And if you've ever been told that your dreams were unrealistic, too far-fetched, or just too much, know this: they weren't talking about your dream. They were talking about their own limits. Don't let someone's ceiling become your floor. Instead, use it as a reminder that you're rising beyond the landscape they know how to navigate. And if you feel that rising energy stirring in you now, I invite you to anchor it by commenting below, "I am the millionaire soul awakening." Not for ego, but for clarity, for intention, for sacred accountability. Because confidence isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It's the quiet knowing that you are on the right path, even when no one claps. It's the subtle posture shift when you realize you're no longer performing, you're just being. And it's the deep peace that comes when you understand that your worth isn't up for negotiation, because the door meant for you can't be shut by anyone else. So keep walking, Libra. Keep building. Keep choosing yourself even when it would be easier not to. And when the fruits of your effort begin to show, let them be your proof, not for others, but for the part of you that once wondered if you were crazy for believing this much in something the world couldn't see yet. You weren't crazy. You were just early. Thank you for staying with me until this very moment, Libra. If you're still here, it's not just because you're curious, it's because something deep inside you resonates with this message. And maybe, just maybe, you've finally realized that this is no longer about hoping something good will happen. It's about knowing and allowing what's already been prepared for you to unfold. You are not waiting for abundance. You are aligning with it. You are not chasing opportunities. You are becoming the kind of person they naturally find. You've spent so long believing you had to earn your worth through sacrifice, silence, or shrinking yourself to keep the peace. But now, everything is shifting. Because the universe is not asking you to work harder, it's asking you to receive more clearly. To live more openly. To walk in the truth that your inner richness was never in question. The outer world is simply catching up to the maturity and expansion that has already taken place within you. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, what would it look like if you stopped waiting for permission to live the life that's been calling you for years? What if you started making decisions from a place of enoughness, not someday, but right now? What becomes possible when you stop apologizing for your vision and start taking gentle, consistent steps toward it? This message today wasn't meant to impress you. It was meant to activate something already alive in you, something that's been whispering, "It's time." And Libra, I believe that time is now. If you've ever held back out of fear that your dreams were too much, then let this be the moment you decide to let that story go. You are not too much, you are the exact amount of light, wisdom, power, and purpose that this world needs. You've already done more internal work than most will ever see. But now, it's time to let the world see the external fruits of that labor. Financial flow, new opportunities, safe love, inspired leadership, not as a fantasy, but as your next chapter. And if you feel something stirring in you right now, that's not emotion. That's remembrance. A recognition that you are finally returning to who you were before doubt crept in. So tell me, Libra, are you ready to step into a life others only dream of? Are you ready to receive what was delayed, not denied? If you feel it in your bones that this message was meant for you, go ahead and comment the number 777 below. That's your way of anchoring this energy, your way of saying, yes, I'm ready. And while you're here, let me take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Every like you leave, every comment you share, every time you subscribe to this channel, you're not just supporting the work, you're fueling a movement. You're helping Zodiac Whisper Tarot grow into a space where more souls like you can find clarity, alignment, and divine reassurance. So if this message moved you, please take a moment to like this video, not for the algorithm, but as a way of affirming, I see myself in this. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so that each week, you receive sacred guidance designed just for your energy. And don't forget to share this with someone you love, someone you know is also on the brink of their own breakthrough. Because when money starts falling from the sky into your home, I promise, Libra, you won't want to be the only one holding the umbrella. Let's rise together.